See, I wasn't planning on making this video today. I honestly don't know when I was planning on making the video on the double barrel. I know I was going to do eventually, but some events expedited this reasoning to make it now instead of later. Man, I got called out by the green screen gamer guy over here. In his latest video, he said no commentary channel talks about the double barrel, and I took that a little bit personal. So because of him, you guys are seeing this beautiful masterpiece on said double barrel. And it's a beauty. Trust me. I'm not saying that to keep your guys' attention. Trust me. Stay focused. Stay focused. I don't have a chain-like combo, so I gotta improvise a little bit here.
Jingle jangle. Big jingle jangle, man.
Now, what is my overall opinion on the double barrel? Well, if you're someone who hasn't been lobotomized yet, you don't like it at all. And if you have been said lobotomized, then it's your favorite weapon in the entire game because you don't know how to aim to save your life. Now, if there was any kind of discrimination that was okay in any form, it would be towards the lights. Actually, you know what? This is the only kind of discrimination that's tolerated. As through like racism and like gender phobia or whatever the hell it's called now, we don't like the light class in the finals, okay? There is good reason for that. Not just because it has the double barrel, but because it has the most overpowered weapons in the game. And I don't want to hear any logical explanations like, oh my gosh, the light doesn't have a lot of health, so they gotta take health a little bit more efficiently. I don't care about logic, I care about my feelings. And if my feelings are hurt, then I'm gonna start screaming about it on the internet, and you guys can't stop me. You tell me why the most overpowered weapon in the entire game not only is on light, which, hey, it makes sense, but don't tell anyone I said that. It also two-shots heavies. You know, the dudes who are supposed to be the tanks, but they just get magically two-shot if you're within 5 meters of them. If they don't have the worst aim in the world, it's pretty much apparent that you're going to die if you face a double barrel as a heavy. It's a little bit different with lights and mediums because you can move around a little bit and you have smaller hitboxes, but us heavy mains, what's going on with the double barrel, guys? Come on, if the Cerberus can't 3-shot even with the fire damage, then why in the world is the double barrel two-shotting heavies? They're supposed to be tanky, and they are in most cases, but the heavy isn't tanky with this showed of a stupid shotgun. What a pitiful excuse, if anything. They say size doesn't matter. I think the lights just found something similar when they're playing with the double barrel over here. Maybe they should go for something bigger like the model. Maybe they're compensating for something at that point. Okay, maybe that was a little bit too mean, but you know what? I don't care. This is a heavy channel and a little bit of a medium channel. I don't condone any light behavior down in the comments sections. I don't want any sympathizers. I don't want nothing. And I'm not just talking about double barrel users. No, I'm talking about every single light, except for my boss, because I don't feel like getting fired today. But other than my boss, we're good to start hating every other light. Okay, I got my 2.5-3 minute spew, however long that was, out of the way. Let's talk about the weapon itself and why I have some genuine concerns. Well, not really concerns, complaints about the weapon as a whole. So I'm not faulting anyone for using the double barrel, even though the funniest thing you guys have ever listened to earlier in the video says otherwise. The double barrel is only a problem because Embar keeps it so. Why it wasn't nerfed going into Season 8 is beyond my comprehension. I honestly don't know why it's still as OP as it is. It's strange because I've been seeing less and less of this thing as time has gone on, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You think the most overpowered weapon would be the one that's being used the most. But because of every other weapon in the game being semi-viable, because let's say you have longer range weapons, the double barrel is by far like completely useless. It is the most useless weapon at range, except when we're talking about melee, but that's its own other beast, right? To be fair, the double barrel is extremely easy to counter. You just stay away from them. But when you have all these gadgets that kind of amplify its effectiveness, the synergy that the vanish bomb, the cloaking device, even just the grapple has with the double barrel, it's absurd how good it can possibly be. I'm not going to take credit for being the best double barrel player in the game. If anything, the most notable one is Neon Gus with his grapple, with his double barrel, with pretty much every weapon he touches. It turns into pure dopamine when you watch. He's a fun dude, so he's going to be the only other light besides my boss, and I'm not going to criticize. Well, Luke, why is it so powerful? That's what you're asking yourself, right? Well, if you're not asking that without me saying it, then you guys are doofuses for that, and I'm going to call you that. Doofus. You're a doofus. See, I called you it. How does that make you feel? So the range is pretty bad, and that might be an understatement, honestly. When it comes to pretty much every other shotgun in the game, there's at least a tiny bit of range, at least with the medium shotguns. The medium shotguns are honestly kind of underrated. Oh my gosh, there's no damage to them. But you can still utilize a solid amount of range, especially the model. And the fire damage with the Cerberus, I still think has some untapped utility with that weapon, but hey, we'll get to those at maybe a later date if I feel like doing those kinds of videos. The double barrel has barely any range. When you go beyond 5 meters, you're lucky to get 2 bars in. So that's kind of sucky. But when you're within 5 meters, you can one-shot lights, two-shot mediums, and heavies. And that is dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. Just how dangerous, you guys might be asking. So each shell of the double barrel holds 15 total pellets, right? Each pellet does 13 damage each, as long as you're within the range of 10 meters. There is damage drop off with this weapon like there's with every shotgun, but in pretty much every single valid case, with this shotgun especially, the damage drop off isn't going to mean crap. It's like the minigun situation where if you're trying to hit shots beyond its fall off optimal range, you're only going to be hitting 1, maybe 2 pellets, and you're going to be doing no damage whatsoever. It's just like the minigun, this thing suffers from crazy spread, and that is a good thing. I'm not saying to change it to make it tighter. That is the last thing I want this thing to be. This thing has crazy damage potential with its 15 pellets. I mean, just multiply 13 by 15. That's the amount of damage times the amount of pellets that you get. That is 195 damage as long as you're within the damage fall off range and you've hit every single pellet from that shot, which isn't very hard to do. Nearly 200 damage per shot. That is crazy. If that was even 1 damage value higher, you could do a quick melee combo with the medium. So I'm glad it's 13 and not 14. Thank God for that. But that's still more than enough damage to still 2-shot a heavy with all the pellets hitting the body, right? Even if you lower the pellet damage by 1, it's still 2 shots heavies. So that's why I don't think a damage nerf is actually necessary here. This thing needs a spread and fire rate nerf. I'm not saying that because I don't understand it like I did with the riot shield way back when I did make the mistake of not actually playing with the weapon before criticizing it to high heaven. I am doing this at a place of me having probably 20 hours with this weapon over the past, let's say, 3 months or so. Not a small amount of time. I've enjoyed a lot of the time I've had with the double barrel. It's very much so fun to 1-shot a light and 2-shot heavies. It is super satisfying, but I kid you not, it makes me feel dirty, bro. I feel like a terrible person after doing that to any person, any human being, especially my dear heavies. And if I have killed you, oh, let's be honest, if I slaughtered you with a double barrel within the past couple weeks of me playing with this bad boy, I am so sorry. I send my condolences to your family because you are now 6 feet under because no one was left alive in my rampage. Is this thing effective even in untrained hands like myself where I haven't looked up a single guide like you need a guide in the first place? I hate light. I have only used grapple. I use nullifier for God's sakes, dude. I don't use meta. I just play with the weapon and see how it goes. And it goes, bro. I'm like Max Verstappen when I'm just shooting up kills on the leaderboard like he shoots up heroin or something. Whatever he takes before the races. All right, let's get back on track here. Let me saddle up again after falling off into another rabbit hole there. I think the better of the 2 nerfs, if not both of them, with the spread and the fire rate, is the fire rate. So right now, even though I was complaining about this thing, I'm still complaining about it. Let's not put that in the past tense. This thing has very little range, very little range. And that is by far the easiest way to counter this thing. Is if you have a weapon that is anything other than a double barrel, you can still counter it. If you have any other shotguns that does pretty static damage overall, or you have like a sniper was probably the most annoying weapon to play against with the double barrel, because it's still a slug shotgun. It can still do a melee combo if you do a body shot and then melee. So sniper is probably the biggest counter to double barrel in my experience. Like, I've killed a lot of double barrels with a sniper. I've been killed by snipers with a double barrel a lot. I'm not saying this thing is impossible to counter. Far from it. Pretty much any weapon in the game counters it as long as you're not melee or you're a crappy shotgun. Keep that in mind, all right? But when the dash player or the void player is just camping in a corner waiting for someone to just round that doorway, guess who's going to die? It's going to be you. And that's pretty, I want to say unfair. You know, screw it. I'm going to say unfair. This thing is unfair when you're playing inside of a building and your enemy is a doofus who likes playing with a cloaking device. Like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I have let's go with spear, all right? My spear doesn't do a lot of damage. Whack, whack, a winch for the easiest combo I can do, right? What can a double barrel do? Bang, bang, no trickery, no different combos, no skill involved, just shooting. And, well, that's not very fun. And I like having fun. If something's debilitating my efforts when it comes to having fun in a game, I don't like it. So that's probably why I put the fire rate nerf as the best kind of nerf for the double barrel. Mainly because it still leaves room for 2-shot potential for a heavy, but it gives the heavy plenty of time to react with a mesh shield, with a dome, with a barricade, or just rounding the corner again to group up with his teammates. It doesn't give a lot of extra time, but it gives enough time to where you can't be blaming yourself for your slow reaction time, your bad placement, for all sorts of other things besides just having the person on the other end just having a finger to where they're pressing the trigger twice to killing you. And am I saying that I'm going to stop complaining about the double barrel if that ever happens? I'm going to be complaining about a lot of things, and the double barrel is definitely going to be one of them. But at least a fire rate nerf will give mediums and heavies enough time to react to the double barrel. Just to run to teammates especially, because if there is a double barrel trying to like fight a whole 3 stack, even if it's just solo queued, they're not going to survive. They're probably going to get 1 kill, maybe 2 if there's a couple lights on the team, but they're not going to 1v3 at least consistently enough for that to be a viable attack strategy. A suicide bomber mentality, that's never a good thing for a light, especially double barrel, because you only have 2 rounds. You got to reload right after. That's why they love Void, so they can hide like little pussies. I also like the idea of a spread nerf as well, not just because it affects the heavies or the mediums, it also affects fighting against lights as well. Lights, I feel like, should always get 1-tapped by an SH, and I'm not saying that because I hate lights. I'm only saying that because, well, if it doesn't one-shot lights, then the double barrel, how? Like, how is it going to be viable in any situation? It's in the game, and honestly, if it was oppressive enough and people actually voted this thing on the game, if this was a democracy, I don't think the Swedish are a democracy. I'm kidding, they are. I wouldn't be opposed of it going bye-bye. I'm not going to say I'm going to mourn over it, but it's in the game, and I feel like since it's in the game, people are in love with it, and it's their favorite gun, and I want them to keep their favorite gun. But that also means I don't want it to hinder everyone else's fun as well. So I'm sorry, guys, that I don't really want you guys to take 2 shots with a double barrel. I mean, lights, you guys have no health for a reason. It's because you have the best weapons of the game. Use those weapons against the double barrels. Use one yourself, stoop to their level. Because that's definitely what happened when I was popping off the double barrel, that's for sure. I got shot up by someone who was using the sniper or using the ARN. They switched over to double barrel, they killed me. And because there's a reason for it, it's good. And even with a spread nerf or a fire rate nerf, this thing isn't going to be bad at all. It's just going to be a little bit more equal to other weapons in the class and other shotguns as well. Because the only other shotgun that's even remotely close to the, not to the skill level, goodness gracious. The only other shotgun that's remotely close to the double barrel when it comes to viability is the SA. And the SA doesn't even fill the same role, nowhere near in fact, that the double barrel does. But those are my potential hot takes on the double barrel as a whole. Hopefully GSGG actually liked this little rant on the double barrel, because apparently no one else has done it. Well, I just proved your video wrong, and it's only 4 hours old. Let's go, baby. And also, if you guys haven't checked out the video, I'm leaving it down in the description. It is a masterpiece. I'm so sad that he doesn't get as many views as he should be getting. He is a great guy. Check him out in the link. But that's pretty much all I had for you guys. You guys have a good day.